So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back for the second session of day 4 of this capacity building program. This second session of day 4 is going to have a 45 minutes lecture followed by 15 minutes slot specifically reserved for discussion and question and answer session. For this session, we have with us today Dr. J.M. Vyas, who is a Vice-Chancellor of Gujarat Forensic Sciences University in Gandhinagar. He has been elected as an organizing committee member for the Interpol's Forensic Science Symposium. He was awarded with the President's Police Medal for meritorious services in the field of crime investigation in the year 1997. He was also adjudged as the best forensic science laboratory director of the country and was also awarded with the commendation certificate by the Deputy Prime Minister at the 15th All India Forensic Science Conference in the year 2004. He holds a large number of publications in various journals of national and international repute and is a very well-known forensic expert of the country. We have also with us Dr. Professor Purvi Pokhriyal ma'am, who is a professor at the National Forensic Science University. Dr. Vyas is going to deliver a lecture on the topic of happiness and the law. So without wasting any further time, sir, Dr. Vyas, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A different kind of a topic we are going to discuss with happiness and law. They are not connected at all. If you see, happiness is something. Happiness is my own quality, I would say, and law is a law which is binding myself and preventing happiness. That way you can say they are connected. Now, coming back to happiness, you see, every individual, every human being on this earth seeks happiness, wants to be happy, wants to remain happy. And that seeking of happiness is not limited. I don't want a limited for 5 minutes, happiness for 5 minutes. I don't want happiness for 2 hours. I don't want happiness for 10 hours. I want happiness for 24/7. And I am not comfortable at all with sadness. I don't want the slightest sadness in my life. 24/7 happiness with zero sadness. That is what every individual, every human being is trying in the life right from the birth. The only how to be happy, how to remain happy, and that is the mindset. Actually looking, the mind is searching for this happiness. And why mind is searching for happiness is a matter of investigation. Why mind wants to be happy and why we are all seeking happiness. Then our scriptures have mentioned this. It has been illustrated in a big way. It has been explained with all kinds of theoretical support. And then ultimately it has been discovered that the nature of my soul, the nature of my mind is a soul basically. We also call it Antakaran. So the Antakaran's nature is Sat Chit Anand. So we also call it Satchidanand. So what is this Satchidanand? Now forget about Sat. We will discuss Sat later on. Chit is consciousness. So this be, I am conscious, my mind is conscious. That consciousness comes because it's my nature. And through consciousness, I am able to gain knowledge. So consciousness is knowledge. I know who am I know my name. Right from this, the consciousness starts. And then Ananda. Ananda is happiness. So Satchit Anand is my nature. And because it is my nature and I am deprived of it, I am seeking it. Right from the birth, I am deprived of happiness. Because, why? Because I am not able to enjoy my nature. Why I am not able to enjoy? Because my mind is not free from desires. My mind is not free from agitation. My mind is not free from a demanding mind. So because of the disturbances of the mind, mind is not in the original form and the original nature, which is happy nature. So because of these desires and demands, etc., mind all the time tries to seek and fulfill those desires. Desires could be various. I want a particular object. I want a particular model of a car. Now the desire comes in my mind. Now, unless and until I fulfill the desire of purchasing a car, my mind will be restless. I will try to make efforts to see that how I get money, how I collect so much of money, from where to get a loan. All kinds of arrangements I will go on making, and till I purchase a car, my mind will remain a desirous, a demanding mind. This mind will not allow me to enjoy my own nature, because mind forgets its nature. It's now a different mind. Now that happy mind has converted into a demanding mind. The happy mind has now converted into a desirous mind. And this desirous mind is not my nature, it's something different. So I am going against my nature. Desire is not my nature. So I try to fulfill the desire immediately so that I become free from desire and I can enjoy my own nature. That's what the efforts I am making right from my birth. But unfortunately, what happens? The moment I fulfill my desire of purchasing a car, some other desire comes. So I could experience my own nature only for few hours, and the second desire came. And again, the mind became a desired mind. So ultimately, what I want, by fulfilling the desires, I want to see that I want total happiness throughout my life. Unfortunately, it is not given to me. That is number one. Number two is, then, say for example, then the object of my happiness change based on my own mindset. When I was a young boy, I was feeling that chocolate is an object of my happiness. I used to desire for chocolates. I used to crave for chocolates. And then if the chocolates are given to me, I was enjoying like anything because my desire of getting chocolates was fulfilled. Then I grew. That desire of chocolate got converted into some other desire. I want to play a game of pebbles. So winning pebbles and losing pebbles. That was the game which I was playing and trying to fulfill my desire. Then the object of my happiness changed. It became a cricket. Then the object of happiness changed. It became something else. So right from chocolate until the person dies, the objects of desires go on changing. And that depends on the mindset. Then the mindset also is very important. If you are a normal person, normal individual, the desire will also be normal in the nature, because demanding a car or desiring having a car, something is nothing that is offensive, or is nothing that you are desiring something which is not possible for you, etc. If that also goes with the ambition of a person. If the person is more ambitious, he has more desires. And ambition has to be there in the life, because if you want to grow, you have to be an ambitious person. You need to have a goal in your life. And in order to achieve that goal, you have to keep ambitions. You have to compete with the society. That is fine. All kinds of healthy competitions are permissible. Keeping desire is also not a crime. It's not an offense. It is not also an adharma. But then understanding the nature of the mind is very important. Why my mind is desirous of certain thing? If I get this item, will I get a permanent happiness by achieving this desire, by fulfilling this desire, by achieving this goal? That needs to be analyzed. And so every individual wants to train the mind in such a way that now minds which are any situation which it comes across starts analyzing the importance of that article, importance of the object in my life. As I normally give an example of Rasgulla. Now, for a person who likes Rasgulla, thinks that happiness comes from Rasgulla. So the moment the person is not happy, and I am feeling sadness due to some problems, etc. And the moment I see Rasgulla, I feel that, oh, now the happiness has come. So I forget my that sadness part, my stress part, and start enjoying Rasgulla, feeling that the happiness comes from Rasgulla. Again, the psychology of mind says that no inert object has got capacity to create happiness. Rasgulla is an inert object which doesn't have any capacity. It cannot create happiness for you. It is only your mindset which feels that if I get Rasgulla, I will be happy. Rasgulla doesn't have got that quality. And that example is also given more clarified in detail because, say for example, this person was sad and then the Rasgulla was offered to him. Now the sadness went and then he was just to take Rasgulla because he thinks that happiness comes from Rasgulla. And the moment he was about to put in his mouth, somebody came and informed that your very dear one has expired. Now the same Rasgulla, you take it away. Now it doesn't give you happiness. Now if suppose that is the quality of Rasgulla to give happiness, it has to give you 24/7 unconditional because that is the quality of Rasgulla. Now it is not giving. The same Rasgulla, which was an object of your happiness, now has stopped giving you happiness. Now you have started creating a different kind of a approach for this Rasgulla. You don't enjoy Rasgulla. You don't like, you have created a kind of a dislike for Rasgulla. So the Rasgulla, which was an object of your happiness, now it has become a dislike for you because of the circumstances. That means Rasgulla did not have capacity to create happiness for you. That is number one. It has been proved now scientifically. Second thing, I write from my birth. I think that happiness comes from different objects. And then the last object which everybody feel is happiness comes from money. And therefore, everybody goes for getting more and more money. If money is there, I can fulfill all other desires. But what is the main desire? Main desire is I want to be a rich person. And if I am a rich person, I will be a happy person. So ultimately, by becoming rich or a richer person, what do you want? Ultimately, you want is happiness. So richness is required to become happy. More health, better health is required to become happy. More power is required to become happy. Better position is required to become happy. More promotions required to be happy. So ultimately, behind every demand, if you say, if you analyze what is the ultimate thing, I want to be happy by fulfilling all these desires. And I want to remain a happy person 24/7. That is the only desire I have. The main desire behind all the desires is I want to remain happy so that I can remain with my own nature. And why I need this, as I told you, it is my nature, and therefore, why you can ask, why can you say that it is my nature? Because I have not seen any individual who is complaining that I got bored today because the whole day I was happy. Nobody would have come. Otherwise, if you find this kind of a person, what you will say, take him to a mental hospital. Because nobody rejects happiness. Nobody gets bored with happiness. But slightest sadness in you, slightest stress in you, you get bored. You said, I did not enjoy the day because I was stressful. Because sadness and stressfulness is not your nature. You don't accept it. Sadness is not accepted by you because it's not your nature. Happiness, you have no problem. On the contrary, you are comfortable and you are seeking for it so that you remain comfortable because it is your nature. Thing which is you are rejecting, which is not as per your nature, thing you are accepting, you feel that it makes you comfortable and you have no problem with it because it is your nature. There cannot be any problem with your own nature. And as I told you in the beginning, Sat Chit Ananda is your nature. Ananda is your nature. So Ananda, you will never be discomfortable, uncomfortable. You will never develop a kind of a dislike for Ananda. It's your nature. But you will never develop likes for anger. You will never develop likes for stress. You will never develop likes for sadness because it is not your nature. Now, coming back, this objects also, including money, if you take, you feel by all other means, you try to collect more and more money because you feel that money makes me happy. So huge amount of cases lying with you and you feel that you are happy, and that money makes me happy, you are a more rich person, etc. The moment you came to know that there was an income tax raid in your neighbor's place, and they may also come to you tomorrow, the same money you are throwing, going to the rivers and throwing that money, money has created dislike for you now. We all know the case of demonetization. So many people, though they had enough money, they were coming out and throwing the money in the river. Some of the cases we have seen, money is subjected to burns, fire. Why? It was a matter of life for you. Now the same money has created dislike because it doesn't have capacity to make you happy. If suppose money has got a capacity to make happy, then why are you creating a dislike for money when income tax is going to rate this? Same money has created dislike for you now. So it is not the capacity of money because it's an inert thing. It is your own mindset which decides, I feel happy because I like this. It is question of your like and dislike. The objects, they don't have that capacity. Then the question comes, then how can I remain happy? And that happiness is for 24/7. And then it is said that if you are not dependent on any objects, there is no desire, there is no dependency, then you can enjoy your own nature, and that is happiness, which you are daily enjoying when you go to sound sleep. In sound sleep, you are not in connection with any objects. There is nothing around you. In objects like your own wife, your own husband, your own children, they are not there in deep sleep. They were there in dreams, but they are not there now when you are going to a deep sleep stage. So in deep sleep, when you wake up, you say, oh, I enjoyed the whole day, the whole night, because I had a very good sleep. Now, from where that enjoyment came? You are not in touch with any objects. That means you are enjoying your own nature because in this sleep, there was no demand, there was no desire, there was no anxiety, there was no craving. You were comfortable with you without any desire, any object, nothing. So you were able to enjoy your own nature, which is happiness. So this is how happiness can be defined. And as I told in the beginning, craving for an object or creating a desire for achieving something like a car, etc., a good bungalow, etc., is fine, is normal. There's nothing against it. You can do it. You can remain happy. But the ultimate thing is they don't have capacity to make you happy. That understanding has to be very clear. Now, this person's mindset, how it changes. Now, as I was young, as I told you, I was playing some game. Let us take, I normally give example of pebbles. We also call it lakhoti. Anyway, so I used to play a game of pebbles. Now, winning 10 pebbles or losing 10 pebbles was very important for me. And then one day I won 10 pebbles. So I went home with a very good mood, enjoying because I won 10 pebbles. Went home and I immediately started telling my mother, Mom, I want a good food, etc., etc. When mommy asked, what happened? Why are you so happy? Because I want 10 pebbles. And I also had a very sound sleep, etc. And next day, I lost 10 pebbles. Now I'm entering my home in a crying mode. I'm crying. No, Mom, I don't want to take food also. What happened, Bevda? No, Mom, I lost 10 pebbles. Now, winning 10 pebbles and losing 10 pebbles was winning the whole world and losing the whole world for me. My understanding was winning 10 pebbles is a very big thing for in my life. Losing 10 pebbles is a big loss to me. Now the same person became a father. Now his father is playing pebbles with the son and children. Now for his father, winning 10 pebbles and losing 10 pebbles has no effect. Because now he has understood the importance of this pebbles in his life. He knows pebbles is not important at all in the life. Because now the mindset has changed. And we also call it now this person has developed more maturity. Now is a more mature person with regard to understanding the importance of pebbles in the life. You may also call him a sannyasi. Sannyasi, but for a sannyasi only with regard to pebbles. Because if pebbles are given, he has no problem. If they are taken away, he has no problem. So coming and going of pebbles doesn't make any difference in his life. Because why? Because he has understood the importance of pebbles in the life. Similarly, if you can evaluate and understand of each and every object you are craving for in this life, if the importance that is understood, you become a matured person. And maturity doesn't go with the age. Maturity goes with good understanding of mind. Now this person, though is very young person, but he has total understanding. Why I am craving this object? Will it make me permanently happy? Will it give me happiness 24/7? And if suppose this object is taken away from me, will it make me unhappy? Will I start craving for this object because it will be taken away from me? That means I am totally dependent on that particular object. Why should I become dependent on any object for that matter? So anything coming to me, anything going away from me should not disturb my mind. And that undisturbed mind can enjoy happiness. Any disturbed mind is taking away your happiness. More disturbance in the mind is more away you are from the happiness. Now, this person has started gaining some level of maturity. So the objects of happiness are changing now. The initially object of happiness was chocolate, it became pebble, then it became cricket, then it became watching movie, then it became going for a morning walk, playing tennis, these and that, getting a good food. These are all objects of his happiness. This is not a problem. He is seeking for this. He is becoming dependent on these objects. It is fine. There's nothing other. He is not an other. But now his mindset has changed. Now he's not enjoying with his normal objects, which he used to enjoy earlier. Now he wants liquor. If he takes liquor or alcohol, then only he feels happy. So now the mindset has changed. Now the object of happiness is alcohol, though it's harmful, but now with a slight perversion in the mind, now he becomes dependent on alcohol, thinks that alcohol makes him happy. Further perversion is now this fellow is not enjoying, even if the alcohol is given to him, it's fine. Now he wants drugs. He wants now opium. He wants marijuana, that is cannabis. He wants all kinds of other psychotropic substances. Why? So that whatever stress is there in him goes away and he becomes a stress-free person. Then he can enjoy the happiness of the mind. But this is a perverted mind. Now this mind has perverted. This person has become alcoholic. And this is a perversion. Now this person has become a drug addict. But now, what is his intention by taking drug? His intention is his mind becomes stress-free and he can enjoy happiness. That was the intention. But now the activity he is doing, the object he is trying to acquire, and that process is not permissible under the law. That amounts to crime. He has limited money, goes to the bank, doing robbery, taking away the money. And if you ask me, why did you do it? He wants to be happy because he thinks that money makes me happy. But this activity is not permissible under the law. It amounts to crime, is an offense. So any kind of crime you take, the intention of the criminal is ultimately he wanted to be happy. Anything you take, he wanted to be happy. Just think over, analyze, why did this person do it? He wanted to be happy. Any crime you take, stealing, theft, robbery, and then even murder. And then somebody asked me as to why somebody feels happy by murdering someone. It is not an acquiring some object. Already we go for acquiring some knowledge, and then when the object comes, we feel happy. But in murdering something, how can the person be happy? That crime people commit. And how can you say that that particular activity was done in order to become happy? So the answer is, I am not comfortable with stress and sadness, and somebody comes in my way. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to acquire a particular object, but somebody comes in the way and snatches away this object from me. That means he is now coming as an hindrance between me and my object of happiness. Every time he goes on threatening me and creates a kind of stress in me, keeps me away from that happiness, which I wanted to enjoy. And that stressfulness I don't like, I'm not comfortable with. The sadness this fellow is creating on me is not acceptable to me. He is also in the process of taking away all kinds of objects which I feel I will give me necessary happiness which I want. So what then? How to be happy? Because I am not permitted. He keeps on putting a lot of stress on me, sadness on me, taking away all kinds of happiness objects which are giving happiness to me. What should I do? I remove that person. And why did I remove him? Because I thought that by removing him, now I will be able to enjoy my objects of happiness. Now, nobody will be able to put pressure on me. Nobody will be able to create stress in me. No sadness on me. So now, by removing this person, I will be able to enjoy the happiness. So that action of murdering also the person did because he wanted to be happy. This is the ultimate truth. And then further pervertness of the mind. This person doesn't enjoy killing one person. Now he enjoys if he kills around 100 people at a time. What is the goal? Nothing. If he throws a bomb and kills 100 people, he enjoys. If you ask, why did you enjoy? No, why did you do this? But I wanted to be happy. By killing 100 people, he feels that he will be happy. The extreme level of pervertness of mind. These people we call terrorists, and these are the people who have got highest level of perversion of the mind. And they get happiness. Their goal also is to become happy. But now their object of happiness is killing 100 people at a time. Unless until they do it, they are restless. They don't enjoy. They don't get happiness unless and until they kill 100 people at a time. They disturb some country's economy. They make more number of addicts in the country, etc., etc. Unless they do these kind of activities on a big scale, they don't enjoy happiness. So this is what they're born doing. So this is how efforts right from my birth I go on making, depending on my mindset, I identify different activity of becoming happy. This kind of happiness I am seeking the whole life. I am not able to achieve this though, because as I told you, there are limitations in each and every object. They cannot give me this kind of happiness. And because of the misunderstanding, I go on try on getting this kind of objects in my life so that I feel that they will make me happy. And this is not applicable only in case of inert objects. This is also applicable in case of all living objects. They also don't have capacity to make you happy 24/7. And that includes your own wife, your own husband, your own children. That's the height of the thing. So understanding the happiness coming from a friend, coming from a wife or a husband or a children also is limited. They also don't have a capacity to keep you happy or to make you happy or keep you happy 24/7. That also objects of limited happiness. Because many times they behave like this, which is not acceptable to you. You become unhappy. No person on this earth can give you happiness 24/7. You understand? So that understanding has to be developed, and that understanding is nothing but we call it in our scriptures. It is known. It's called as Viveka, and this kind of a person is called as Viveki Purusha. Purusha means it is applicable to Stri also in our scriptures. There's Stri Purush is not like that. Purusha is called human being. So every Purusha, he becomes a Viveki Purusha, and in psychology we say that he is a mature person because now he has got total understanding of what is the limitation within my relations with inert object and also living objects. How much happiness they can. That understanding has to be there. And then in order to gain happiness, I should not switch over myself of committing activities which are resulting into crimes, offenses. So I have to develop a mindset that I don't go to that level in order to gain happiness. No, this is fine. If these are the objects of my happiness, if I try to do it, I am an ambitious person, I am a desirous person, my mind is desirous, and I do these activities, permissible, it's fine. But with this clear-cut understanding that no object can make me happy by someone permanent. With this understanding, I am living a life with this maturity. I tell you, I am a very happy person. I cannot be happy 24/7 unless I become a sannyasi, because sannyas means they are not dependent on any object. In absence of every object, like our deep sleep state, in a waking state, they behave like a what we behave in a deep sleep state. Therefore, they are called as sannyasi. All the time they are, our deep sleep state is their state. For either they are sleeping or they are not sleeping, because they don't crave for achieving any kind of objects. There's no desire, no agitation. Mind is totally free. Mind is at peace. And no, as a matured mind, that matured mind is not disturbed whether something is taken away from you or something is given to you. The person is not disturbed. He's sannyasi. Sannyasi is, maybe you call it in a scripture wise, otherwise, psychologically, philosophically, you can say he's a mature person. What is sannyasi? Sannyasi is a mature person with total understanding of life and importance of everything which comes to his life. So this is happiness. And then we also discussed laws to a certain extent with regard to the crime. But if you see the law of nature with regard to crime, again, if you see, then I also discuss law of individuality or law of uniqueness. And the law of uniqueness is every individual on this earth is unique. Right from the hair you take, hair of every individual, and is proved scientifically, it's not my perception. Every hair of an individual, every individual is unique. You come forward, you have a forehead, every individual's forehead is unique, is proved. Then you have eyebrows, eyebrow of every individual is unique. Eyes, every individual is unique. Nose, unique. Lips, unique. Cheeks, unique. Ears, unique. Earlobes also unique. Whatever part you see, right from head to toe, every part of every individual is unique. And then uniqueness goes further. My voice is unique. Now I'm giving the speech to you. Now, by chance, I give call to some of you at midnight. How are you? You will not take more time in identifying me. Oh, it's the same person who talked to us in the morning. Because uniqueness of the voice. Actual face of the person, unique. Every face, while if you see a person, everybody is unique. And this is how we are able to identify. We are able to identify each and every individual because of this uniqueness. Thank God we are able to identify our wife and husband because of this uniqueness. Otherwise, there would have been total confusion. And now, as a witness, you go to the court and say, yes, I saw this individual committing a rape or a murder or any kind of crime. It's acceptable as an evidence because you are an eyewitness and your identity of an individual cannot be wrong because of this uniqueness principle. Every individual is unique. You cannot be misunderstood. You cannot be mistaken. You cannot commit a mistake. So this principle of unique, even your handwriting, unique. Your fingerprints, unique. This is a law of individualization, of uniqueness. Now, this law has helped us in identifying perpetrator of crime, and when the person commits crime, based on this, even a piece of hair is available. You can identify an individual. A fingerprint is available. You can identify an individual. A piece of voice is available. He spoke to someone, which is recorded. You can identify the person. The tears, when somebody cries, tears are also unique. Blood is definitely unique. You can develop DNA pattern and then you can say this blood is different from this blood. And you can identify the person. So DNA is unique. Now, so whatever specimen becomes available to you from the scene of offense, based on the principles of uniqueness, you can analyze that piece of evidence and identify the perpetrator of the crime. This is the beauty of this. This is natural law. This is principles of natural law. You can say like this. It's very important. And then the third, so this was the second aspect. Third aspect is Sat, truth. Truth is my nature. Just like happiness. I am not at all disturbed or uncomfortable so long that I remain with truth for 24/7. I have no complaints against truth. But I am never comfortable with lie. Though you might practice it, there are people who are practicing lie right from morning till evening, but then they are not comfortable at all because lie is not their nature. And when you apply truth in your life, there is a total transparency, truth, wherever you deal with. You are a comfortable person. There's no complaint. You will never get bored. The whole day you use truth, nothing, because truth is your nature. And this principle we apply in interrogating a person who had committed an offense. Now you ask him a question, did you commit a murder? He says, no, but that no is lie. Now that no is lie, then what happens? Because he creates a guilt now. Though he, from outside, if you see that person, he will be absolutely a normal person. There is no guilt. He doesn't allow that guilt to come out so that you can identify the guilt. He is so normal. He is even smiling with you and says, no, I don't know this person. How can I commit a murder? It's a wrong reply. It's a lie. But then what happens? So that also the principle of nature comes, because truth is not, lie is not your nature. Truth is your nature. You are going against your nature. So what happens if I go against the nature? Then I develop some kind of problems with my physiological parameters. My blood pressure changes because of this guilt. My rate of respiration changes. My rate of heartbeat changes. My rate of pulse rate changes. All these factors change when I tell lie because of the guilt. But then because of that defense mechanism, I am able to hide them, withhold them, don't come out. But if you can develop a mechanism where you can find differences in this, my pulse rate, my galvanic skin resistance, my blood pressure, my rate of respiration, etc. If that is measured and the question is asked to you, did you commit a murder? And you said no, and it is a lie. Now this deviation in these parameters, you can judge that the person is lying. So there are 5 physiological parameters which you change. That was the initial research. And if you have a cardiogram like machine, cardiogram is a monogram, basically is a monogram. There is a one pane only. But then if suppose, and it takes care of only one function, that is heart. But now in addition to heart, I want other 4 parameters also to be measured at a time. So you need an instrument, a cardiogram, which has got 5 panes. So it is now polygraph because there are multiple panes. This polygraph now takes care of all the 5 physiological parameters. And now you ask a question that did you commit a murder? And he says no. And then you find changes. And then you find changes, you say this person is lying. So now, what is your nature and which way you are behaving? You are behaving against your nature. So this is how happiness is your nature, and you seek happiness from different objects, and which way you behave, what kind of behavior you can commit, and it right from a normal person or a wise person, you become a terrorist kind of a person based on mindset, because you go on seeking the happiness from different kind of situations. And then your nature is truth. So you also try to remain with truth, but unfortunately, we have been practicing lie in our whole life, And the moment we practice lie, a lot of sacrifice takes place. We disturb all our physiological parameters whenever we use lie in our life. Because we are not bothered to see what kind of changes take place in our body, but they do change place. And the liars ultimately develop all kinds of diseases. So this is an issue. But then, and anyway, we are not interested in that. But then, this is the nature, and this is how you can connect it with law or investigation of crime. This kind of crimes can be investigated using these principles of Satchit Ananda. And then we also discuss principle of individualization and principle of uniqueness. So this, when you combine, you will be a very good investigator. Now you can investigate crime with this philosophy, with this clarity in mind, that what could be the mindset of a criminal? Why did criminal commit a crime? What was the motive behind this? And how he was trying to get happiness from this particular activity can also be analyzed by you. And then as a judge, you can interpret all these findings which are placed before you. As a lawyer, you can argue, considering all these findings from your client before a judge, and then you can prove the case in favor or disfavor, whatever the circumstances are. So very important thing. So there has to be total understanding, because this whatever we discuss is our own life, is not related to somebody else. This is our own thing. Whatever we discussed is our own scenario. What we are, which way we are behaving, how mature we are, why we commit this kind of activities, why did we do this? Every action we do, every decision we make, we must have total understanding. And that we call ultimately in the law, your language of law is objectivity. That makes you a person with total objectivity. You are an objective person. An objective person has got total understanding. More objective you are, more near truth you are. So absolute objectivity in your life is absolute truth. And absolute truth is absolute nature. So you are with your own absolute nature. You are not a disturbed person. You are a comfortable person. You are a person with total happiness, enjoying all kinds of circumstances which come in your life. You have no problem, no disturbance, no extra joy, no extra sadness. You are comfortable, whatever you are. That is understanding. So I hope I have taken 45 minutes, which was given to me. So this is what I want to share with all of you. It's a very subject which can be discussed in detail also, but I have briefly touched upon the points which are philosophical, psychological, and also legal, so that we can understand happiness in a better way. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for addressing all of us. Sir, your address actually reminded me of a very noted victimologist, Besna Nikolic, who says that the making people happy is the best way to prevent crime. And also of Jeremy Bentham, who says that the object of law is the maximum happiness of the maximum people. Now, how far we have achieved this connection between happiness and law is a question to ponder over. With this, I open this floor for discussion and question and answer session. So, if there is any question, any comment, please raise your hand. I will call out the name and then you can. Okay. So, Achint, yes, please go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. And I think you have brought us to the very core of all crime, because it is said that out of committing a crime, the criminal is actually seeking some kind of happiness. My only humble submission is, sir, that when I see our criminal justice system, it is still lacking in the goals of rehabilitation and reformation. So, the happiness that we are trying to seek as a society, in all the good ways, in the sense of dharma and not adharma, shall also extend to those rehabilitation goals. And it should also bring that sense of responsibility in the criminals. So that is my only humble submission, sir. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a good suggestion. In fact, what is rehabilitation? Rehabilitation, if suppose I am seeking this object and the process of my seeking this object of happiness amounts to an offense, for example, then I have to be diverted. And that diversion is nothing but rehabilitation. So you have to say me that no, don't go for this object. It is harmful to you. Instead, this object is better to you. So I get diversified and now I stick to this object and you try to convince me that this object will definitely give me more happiness than I was getting or expecting from the object of a crime, for example. So that is diversion. You divert the mind from the object of happiness, which was ultimately converting into crime, to an object which is a normal object, and you convince me that yes, this will also give me equal amount of happiness. So I get diverted and I am rehabilitated.
Yes, Harshita ma'am, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Firstly, thank you for your insights. It was a really fascinating session about happiness and law. So, my question for you is that, like, there is forensic science in the criminology. So, what are the factors that stopping the forensic science to derive a stage in the criminology, that to have a meaning of criminal behavior, to understand the criminal behavior, and for that, that recently a PIL was filed in Supreme Court that there is a Malimat committee implementation that forensic science should be have the implementation to help the police officers to investigate the crime. So what do you feel that when forensic science is at the very interesting stage to help the prisoners and to help us as a society to investigate to really deal into the criminal behavior. So what are the factors that make forensic science stop in this phase?
Forensic science basically, actually, till today, or recently, you can say, it was meant
Yes.
for investigation of crime. Forensic science comes into the picture after the crime is committed. So you collect evidences, you reconstruct the scenario of a crime, and then after collection of evidences from the scene of offense, you analyze them, evaluate them, and based on principles of uniqueness, try to identify the perpetrator and then connect the person with the crime scene. So that his presence at the scene of offense is proved, and then you can say he's guilty, he has committed this offense. This is how the forensic science plays a role. And it's not only crime scene where the murder, theft, etc. has taken place. It could be any crime. It could be a cyber crime where you need to have some evidence. So you collect a digital device, which is a victim device, where through which has become a victim of the crime, and this person lost money through this device. So this victim device is analyzed, and based on the analysis of the victim device, we try to locate the person who would have committed this offense, and the person could be sitting in America. From any corner of the world, you can commit an offense through cyberspace. So this is this is an evidence. So you collect these kind of evidences, analyze the evidences, and submit your reports. Thereby, you are connecting the criminal with the scene of offense or the device which was used for this kind of purpose. So this is the role of forensic science. But then the problem was, is forensic science limited in solving the crime to the extent that if there are evidences available, it can help you in solving the crime. If there are no evidences, forensic science cannot help. That was the question. Because this murder was reported after 3 years, after it was committed, and somebody made a complaint. The person who died 3 years ago was actually murdered. And you go to the scene, etc., and this kind of investigations are given to CBI. Now, CBI takes over the investigation and goes to the spot. This spot is totally changed. There was some kind of a well, where there is no well now when you go there. Everything has changed. There is no question of collecting evidence. Now, still, however, you want to solve this. And now, solving this requires some scientific input. Now, how to create this? And therefore, forensic science developed an area called forensic psychology. And this forensic psychology is nothing but psychological interrogation of people. You, as you rightly said, behavioral science based on the behavior of a person, whether the behavior of a normal person and behavior of a person who has committed a crime with regard to all kinds of psychological interrogation methods. It could start from a lie detector or a polygraph, as I said. It could go to voice identification system or identifying the voice, or layered voice analysis, where based on my voice, you can decide whether I'm lying or not. And then also it went to the extent that now the techniques are available called brain fingerprinting and brain mapping, through which you also develop a kind of an experiential knowledge in you if you have experience of committing a crime. So we did this experiment with two individuals, for example. One was a witness. He accompanied the accused, and the accused actually committed an offense. Now the knowledge both of them had of the crime was the same level of knowledge. Exactly at 10 o'clock morning, this incident took place. It took place at such and such place. But the level of knowledge, there are two types of knowledge: conceptual knowledge and experiential knowledge. The witness and the knowledge was in the form of a conceptual knowledge, but the accused who committed a crime had experience of committed a crime. So he had experiential knowledge, and we could differentiate that he is a person who is involved in the crime, he is a person who is a witness when the crime took place. So this is how behavior science, and behavior goes with your mind. Whatever the mind is, your behavior will be. If your mind is happy, you behave as a happy person. If your mind is not happy, you will not behave as a happy person. It will be different behavior. So behavior and mind, and criminal aspects can be combined together. Behavior of a criminal and behavior of an ordinary person or a wise person will be different. If you study these behavioral aspects, you can investigate crime, you can solve the crimes.
Yes, sir. So my concern is that only that forensic science is arbitrarily limited to the collection of the evidence, like to substantiate the crime and to that defending point that to evade the punishment. But is it high time to investigate the criminal behavior? That is Herculean task. That it is perhaps easier to make a right or wrong decision for a criminal, but it is a Herculean task to make to get into the mindset of the criminal. So forensic science is much beyond that, which upholds the significance like forensic psychologists and the clinical psychologists that make our society to prevent recidivism.
Yeah,
So
that's what
that
is
was
going
my
on. These forensic psychologists do this. They go into the mind of the terrorist, a criminal. I will give an example. I handled a terrorist who came from J&K, and he was a suspect in a way. But then police had an information that this person is involved in this terrorist act. He did not confess anything. He did not reveal anything. He behaved like as if he is not concerned at all. He is not aware of even this incident which took place. So it was very difficult for police to establish his involvement in this kind of terrorist action. He was brought to us. And then using all kinds of psychological methods, he was interrogated. And ultimately, I also interacted with this fellow using the level and knowledge of psychology. You will not believe, with the interaction of 2 to 3 days, the person totally broke down emotionally. And that is the role of psychology. Psychology can touch your mind. No other third degree can touch your mind. You can hang a person, you can subject the person to a short circuiting, etc. He will not be disturbed. But when you touch his mind, he becomes emotional. You will not believe this person started crying. And though he did not say anything to the police regarding any of this activity, he confessed the crime before us. I am a witness to this. This happened about 15 years ago. And then he gave a confession statement which was given to the court, and court accepted because it is extrajudicious confession. Confession given before me, extrajudicial, and it was accepted in the court. This person totally broke down, confessed every activity. He gave even who are the people associated with him, who is his master. Master is located in which country. everything he gave. And this became very useful information because you could touch his mind. So mind is very important.
Yes, sir. Thank you for answering my question very gracefully. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Vyas. So actually we are running out of time and we have another session lined up. So we won't be taking any more questions. So thank you so much, Dr. Vyas, for sharing your thoughts and for addressing the questions of the participants. Now with this, we come
So
to
thank you from my side also. It was a brilliant, thought-provoking
Vajpayee for
session.
giving me this opportunity.
No, sir,
And
it's such a fascinating and very engrossing session. We all got benefited from a highly diversified, different perspective that you provided. Thank you so much for your time and very intensive and elaborate talk. Very fascinating. Thank you
thank
from
you.
my side,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.